I'm going to challenge the most sacred assumption about happiness. What if the pursuit of happiness is the thing making us unhappy? And I don't mean that in a cynical way. I mean from a precise philosophical observation that some of the clearest thinkers in history arrived at, which is that happiness, when treated as a goal to be achieved, has a strange tendency to retreat the closer you move towards it. Let that sit for a second. Happiness, when treated as a goal to be achieved, has a tendency to retreat the closer we get to it. And that the people who seem to have it never actually went looking for it. So when writing and researching this topic for us, I came down to 3 traps about how we think about happiness. And the first trap is that happiness is a destination. It's very cliche, we all kind of heard it at some point. But most people think of happiness as a state to arrive at. Like when I get the job, when I get that relationship, the house, the health, the freedom, the money, like then I'm going to be happy. This is what philosophers call the hedonic treadmill. The consistent return to a baseline emotional state, regardless of what changes externally. Research done by Sonia Lyubomirsky shows that roughly 50% of our happiness baseline is genetic. Only 10% is life circumstances, and then there's 40%, and that's daily intentional activity. Now, before I continue, let me start off by saying I did a little bit deeper research into this, and the 50% of your happiness being a baseline as genetic, it's not, I'll clarify it by saying it could be ADHD, learning disabilities, physical disabilities, the environment you grew up in, these kinds of things that you don't really control, that would be part of that 50%. The mountain most people are climbing, which is the circumstance, being at 10%, controls the smallest slice. So what we're working hard on doesn't control much of our happiness. Okay, now trap 2 is that happiness is a good feeling. Now, the ancient Greeks had 2 words we flatten into one, right? Hedonia, which is pleasure or a positive feeling, and eudaimonia, which is flourishing, living in alignment with your nature. Modern happiness culture almost exclusively chases hedonia while neglecting eudaimonia. The result is people who feel okay but don't feel alive. You're not fulfilled. All right, and now the third trap that I found was that happiness, a lot of people see it as a private achievement. We've completely individualized the concept. Your happiness is your responsibility. But Aristotle was explicit. He said, eudaimonia is only possible within community, relationship, and contribution. The most isolated version of your happiness project will always fail. Isn't it interesting that when we look at our lives and we decide to act on helping somebody or spend time with someone we love or promote a community that's for the good, we feel good? Isn't that interesting to you? And when we try to achieve a goal single-handedly and we fail or succeed, it doesn't hit as hard. And you could fail within a big community and still be happy, still feel good. And that just goes to show that an isolated version of your project, of the happiness project, will fail. John Stuart Mill noticed this and wrote something remarkable. He said, "Ask yourself whether you're happy, and you cease to be so." The act of measurement destroys what it's measuring. It's a beautiful statement. Now, let me share with you the solution. What should you pursue instead and why it works? Aristotle's actual prescription says, pursue virtue and meaningful activity. Let happiness be a byproduct. This isn't just philosophical niceness. It maps onto modern psychology. The Hungarian psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi did research on flow, which confirms that the deepest satisfaction comes from complete absorption in meaningful challenge, not from comfort or pleasure. Viktor Frankl's contribution shared that happiness cannot be pursued, only ensued. It emerges as a side effect of living meaningfully. He called this self-transcendence of human existence. The more you focus on yourself and your happiness, the more elusive it becomes. The more you focus outward on purpose and others, the more it arrives uninvited. Isn't that interesting? Right in the beginning, when I said, the more we chase it, the further it recedes. The reframe worth sitting with is that we should replace the question, am I happy, with, am I living in alignment with what I actually value? The second question is answerable, the first is a trap. And I want to put a lot of emphasis on what you value. That takes a lot of time. I'll share a little story before I share it with you, a practical move you can do. For a long time, I thought I valued health and wellness and fitness. It was easy for me. I loved it. I couldn't go more than 2 days without it. I've done that. I did that for about 15 years. And just this last year, my therapist, my psychologist said to me, based off of everything I've been sharing with her for the past while, I don't value health and wellness. I value work ethic. So the point I'm trying to make is spend as much time dissecting your values as much as you can to see where the ground layer is. Now, moving on to the practical move you can do. Identify 3 activities, or however many you can, start with 3 or maybe 4, in your life that produce what Dr. Csikszentmihalyi called the flow state, where you lose track of time and your sense of self quiets, right? Those are your signposts. It's not for pleasure, it's for meaning. Build towards more of those and stop measuring your emotional temperature every day. It fluctuates. It's supposed to. Now, I've never been a big fan of the Stoic mentality, at least online, but Marcus Aurelius, I think that's how you pronounce it, I was reading and he would remind us that external conditions are never the variable. The only reliable source of something like happiness is the quality of your attention and the consistency of your values, both of which are always within reach, regardless of circumstances. Now, with all of that said, here's my honest take on it. We've been handed a broken map. The culture tells us happiness is the destination, and then it sells us that route. But every philosopher who actually thought hard about this, Aristotle, Frankl, the Stoics, etc., they came to the same place. A good life isn't a happy life in the modern sense. It's a full life. one with real engagement, real relationships, real contribution, and the honest acceptance of suffering as part of the textures of being alive. Next time, I want to get into something that touches almost everyone I talk to: the quiet crisis of knowing exactly what you should do and finding yourself unable to do it. Aristotle had a word for it, and understanding it might change how you think about your own resistance entirely.